Very volatile weather situation for us this morning across central Texas as weather system is converged upon us early on an Easter Sunday morning here in central Texas with some very heavy rain, strong gusty winds, the potential for hail, and enough circulation that the Weather Service felt like it was prudent to issue a tornado warning. They are saying that the tornado threat is considerably lower than when they first noticed this storm, but it's still a strong enough storm that they're going to continue the warning on it for another 10 to 15 minutes or so. The tornado warning for this storm will expire at 5:30. So we certainly want to keep a very close eye on this storm since it's right here in McLennan County and in the heart of a very populous area. Very heavy rains falling as we look at the radar in and around west. VIP levels there would suggest at least an inch of rain per hour with that storm going on. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect down across the northern portions of Burnett County, Ocala, that area getting hit with some very heavy rains. This is part of a line of showers that stretches from north of Hillsboro all the way down into the Texas Hill Country, with the extreme southern end of this band of rain very close to Kerrville. That gives you an idea how long this line of showers is. So it's up and down I-35. You're going to be running into rain. Tracker on this storm as it moves from the west to the east at about 30-35 miles an hour, puts it through Troy at about 5:20, which we are now, Chilton about 5:32, Temple again getting the brunt of the line of the showers. It's already been raining here in downtown Temple for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. Should be seeing the line of storms in Temple by about 5:34, 5:43 into Marlin. Barclay at about 5:55, Groesbeck, I'll be seeing this storm at around 6, Rosebud about 6 after 6, and through Hammond about 6:20 or so. Very heavy rains, strong gusty winds, damaging winds, possibly even some hail with these storms, and we can't rule out the possibility of a tornado. Again, there had been some indication of some middle-level rotation in this storm just to the north of Waco when it was back over Lake Waco. The threat of a tornado doesn't look as strong with it right now because we're seeing a lot of the support for it kind of fading away. But we will continue to keep an eye on this storm because it is still a very dangerous thunderstorm with strong winds in excess of 40-50 miles an hour. Weather Service is looking closely at this storm down in Burnett County. The only thing they're saying right now on that one is small hail and very heavy winds in excess of 40, 50, 55 miles an hour right now. New advisory for Bell County has just been issued. Penny-sized hail and winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour possible with the storm coming through Coppers Cove into Killeen and Harker Heights right now. So be mindful of that, folks. Stay inside. You don't need to be getting out into this weather right now. We're trying to get you through a very nasty Easter morning here. If you're just tuning in, I am Channel 6 Chief Meteorologist Andy Andersen. We also have online with us meteorologist Zach Scott, who is monitoring these storms from his home and plugged into the Doppler radar as well, and helping us do a deeper look inside these individual storms as well with his family and his son's first Easter, Beckett, having his first visit from the Easter Bunny later this morning once this weather settles down. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for portions of northern Burnett County, and we have a tornado warning still in effect for portions of McLennan County. What you're looking at right now on your screen is the one, or was the one over northern Burnett County, Ocala, Briggs, on up towards Kempner, into Copper's Cove. Very heavy rains in progress right now. Whole line just cuts right through the heart of the Channel 6 viewing area right now, from Burnett and Llano up through Copper's Cove and Fort Hood over into Bell County at Belton and Temple, and then up I-35 through a good section of Falls County and McLennan County, and then on up into Hill County as well. We're getting not only heavy rain, but almost continuous lightning, as you see by looking at our graphic here. Very heavy rains, a lot of lightning, large hail being reported in these storms.
Hey, Andy.
Really suggestive as well. Yes, Zach.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to maybe look at some of these winds inside there. So again, you just broke down the line with the reflectivity, which is showing us the heavy rain and all the lightning that is really encompassing pretty much the entire I-35 corridor here, the heart of Central Texas. Let's look at those winds in there, because we've got some gusty winds that are kind of sporadically scattered around Central Texas. So we'll look at velocity signatures here. Again, I'll put this on a 1 hour loop. What we're looking at real quick, the radar side is southeast of Salado, just inside Williamson County. So everything in red is moving away from the radar. So those are winds moving from south to north out ahead of this line of storms. Where you're seeing the greens, that's where you're seeing winds that are moving towards the radar site, which are overall generally going from west to east. We do have some gusty winds embedded in here. We'll start from the south and we'll work our way north. We have a thunderstorm that's coming into southwestern Bell County from Burnett County. We'll watch these, as these winds in here inside this thunderstorm warning could contain wind gusts 50 to 55 miles per hour. Now, the National Weather Service has not extended that severe thunderstorm warning into Bell County, but something that we'll continue to watch. So we could see some gusty winds coming into extreme southwestern Bell County now. We could see some gusty winds moving into western portions of Falls County, so heads up to you in Marlin, where we start to see these brighter pinks. That's where we could be seeing some stronger wind gusts. So again, we could be seeing wind gusts 40 to 50 to 55 miles per hour, not out of the question. These storms, they kind of pulse up and down. They do cycle a little bit, so we could always see these storms start to cycle and maybe pulse back up again. We do have the tornado warning that is I would say the circulation is moved out of northern McLennan County and into really right along the Hill County and Limestone County lines. That circulation is pretty broad. I think the National Weather Service is just going to let this tornado warning expire in the next 5 minutes as the circulation has really weakened. One area that I would continue to maybe watch a little bit is the winds there to the northwest of Perry. Maybe some low-level tightening, storm trying to get some low-level wind circulating there. We're pretty far away from the radar site to the north, so it's showing some more mid-level rotation. When we look at the radar site from the south, still some gusty winds there around Perry. So we'll continue to watch that as that line of storms. When you get these squall lines here, these lines can produce a lot of straight line winds, a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and the tornado threat tends to go down a little bit as far as your top threats. Your straight line winds become your top threat, but you can certainly have some brief spin-ups in there. So that's something that we'll want to watch. Right now, I think the tornado threat is not imminent. We still have that tornado warning there for extreme northeastern McLennan County, southeastern Hill County, and northwestern Limestone County, but that is set to expire here in less than 5 minutes, so that tornado threat has really gone down there. We do have a straight line wind threat embedded in this line of storms, gusty winds, really anywhere from east of Elmont to, let's say, from Hubbard down to Mart over to Marlin. You could see some wind gusts up to around 50 miles per hour in there. Not as bad as you get into Bell County, but watching the storm coming east of Lake Victor out of Burnett County as that moves into our western parts. We'll have to watch that, as that storm could contain some 50 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts. And again, in these line of storms, Andy, and I'll throw it back to you, straight line winds become the main threat, but you can always get some brief spin-ups there on the leading edge of those lines. As far as those tornadoes go, they're usually short-lived. They can be very quick, and they're usually on the lower end of the EF scale. But again, I'm always more worried about the straight line wind damage, because you can have a line of storms that's a couple counties long that can produce straight line winds, and your tornado threat can always be a little bit more isolated or very local. But nonetheless, this is a strong line of storms that is packing quite a punch as it's rolling across central Texas.
And Zach has a very good point there. A lot of times the Weather Service will issue a tornado watch as we have in place for us right now. Not necessarily because they think we're going to be inundated with dozens and dozens of tornadoes, but because the weather is going to be so severe, it's going to be close to those kind of conditions. So we certainly want to be prepared for that kind of weather event going on. We have very heavy rains. We have very heavy winds. As you can tell by looking at the radar here, we've got almost a bow echo going on from near Hillsboro back through Hubbard, curving back down towards Waco and into Falls County, and then back over Bell Falls to near Temple there. But I would imagine you've got some very strong winds coming out of that as well right now. Very heavy rains still continue across the east side of Waco and on down towards Robinson and Lorena, out towards Asa, to Chilton as well. Galinda getting some torrential rains right now, strong gusty winds. And we're hearing some thunder finally here in downtown Temple. We've been getting some moderate rain, and now that strong line of showers is making its way along I-35 through Bell County, and really it seems to be hugging Highway 190, Interstate 14 as well, back through Belton and on over into Killeen and Copper's Cove. Looking down to the south a bit, we still have a tornado warning in effect for that area around Marble Falls, and we've got some concern with that one because that storm, if it holds together, will be cruising across, rural areas of Burnett County once it gets away from Marble Falls and into extreme western portions of Williamson County, there out to the west of Georgetown, so we keep an eye on that one as well. We have tornado warning. It looks like they're going to expire. Yes, it is 5:30, and as Zach said, the threat really had diminished considerably, that it wasn't much of a threat the last 10 minutes or so, but for administrative purposes, they just let it go ahead and expire. So we've gotten rid of the tornado warning that had been in effect for portions of McLennan County and adjacent portions of Hill County and Limestone County. Still very heavy rains, very strong gusty winds, a lot of lightning, perhaps some penny-sized hail in some of this stuff. The potential is there for very large hail, so be mindful of that as well as we go through this morning. The timing on this stuff, we've been talking about this for since last night during the early newscast with Bill Hackey and myself, the late newscast at 10 o'clock. This stuff is going to be with us until it's completely done, probably about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or so this morning. By that time, we think this whole area of rain is pushed over towards I-45 into East Texas, and it's out of our viewing area. But there's also movement back towards the north. So we think that East Texas and then the area north of Interstate 20 for the Dallas-Fort Worth area back towards Denton and then up towards Gainesville and the Red River counties will be getting it from midday into the afternoon hours. This is a big complex of storms. As I said, it's part of a Pacific system coming in from out west, enhanced by upper level instability coming in out of northern Mexico that's keeping our rain chances alive. We've seen improved weather conditions across the Texas Hill Country, much of the trailing end of this storm system, back down towards Johnson City and over just to the south of Fredericksburg and on down towards Kerrville, in that area, beginning to show some tapering off. I don't think that it's completely over with down there yet, but certainly an improving weather picture for us. We're out wide on this on the Doppler net. I'm going to go in a little closer so we can kind of take a little radar tour and give you an idea of where the worst conditions are. As we go back to the north here, for the I-35Y east and west, we've got moderate to heavy rain on both branches of Interstate 35 there. It really begins to pick up as you head south into Navarro County and into Hill County, from Corsicana basically to Richland on over towards to Hubbard, south down towards Penelope and Mahia and Tawakoni there in northern Limestone County. Very heavy cell showing up there between the Highway 31 and Highway 84 split, very close to Mart there. A couple of very strong echoes. The rural area north of Trading House Lake, back down towards Mart there. Good. Fortunately, it's some rural areas. Farmers and ranchers love to get that rain, fill those stock tanks. I think we could all take a little bit of a break from the rain right now, but certainly we'll take it whenever we can get it. Those heavy rain echoes curve on back into across the county line into Falls County, so you're looking at the area between Marlin and Galinda there, getting several cells of very heavy rain, and that stretches on back through Chilton and Lott, and through Durango, and as I said earlier, back over towards Bell Falls, right on the county line there. We'll come into to Bell County, and once you get to Highway 53 and to the interstate points south, the rain intensity really drops off. The winds drop off as well. We're still getting considerable rain and shower activity across the rest of southern Bell County, but then we start heading out towards the west. Well, then we start seeing heavier rain as we get over towards Stillhouse Hollow, over towards Youngsport to Killeen, and then down towards Florence and Gerald. Then the rain starts to taper off again as you get close to I-35 north of Georgetown. But then you get over into northern Burnett County and around Ocala and around Briggs. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for very intense rain coming down in these rural areas. And you've got some low water crossings back in there that can flood pretty rapidly. So that's another reason to stay off the roads early this morning, because you're going to have water across these roads real quick in those areas, and even in the metro areas where we have the rain coming down so fast that our drainage systems, when they're at their peak, can't handle that kind of rain coming down real fast. So a couple of things, just a word to the wise. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Burnett County, and actually two different warnings there across Burnett County for two different thunderstorms in progress there. One across northern Burnett County, moving into Lampasas and Bell County there until 5:45, and then another one a little south of that for strong cells just making its way across the Colorado River south of Burnett there until 6:30 this morning. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that one. Let's get back up here a little closer to the Temple Killeen area and look at some of these storms. Moderate to heavy rain continues east of I-35, really coming down close to Mart. We're seeing a couple of really heavy cells of rain there. I'm wondering if the Weather Service is getting reports of any hail out of that stuff. Let's see. I'll go to the Weather Service chat room. Let's see, winds are really cooking in Hubbard right now, around 30, 35 mile an hour winds in Hill County there at Hubbard. They could be as high, estimated to be as high as 50 to 55 if they continue the way they're going right now. Let's see, that's that storm near Dawson. We've been watching that one. It is a pretty strong thunderstorm, and it is moving in the general direction of Corsicana. It's about 20 miles southeast of Corsicana right now. Let me pull that radar back over a little bit here. Show you what I'm talking about. There's Dawson, and there's Corsicana. There you go. Pretty strong thunderstorms there. Some small hail producers and rather gusty winds on that storm. And so we're keeping a close eye on that one. Not quite strong enough to have a severe thunderstorm warning on that storm, but nonetheless, certainly is one we want to keep you up to date on for the potential for the strong damaging winds and the large hail that could be embedded in some of these. If you're just tuning in early on this Easter Sunday morning, we've got a pretty strong rain event going on. Rain, wind, and even hail. If you just tuned in, we have a tornado watch in effect. What that means is the potential is there for very strong, dangerous weather conditions and possible even tornadoes. And that will run for us until 8 o'clock this morning. After that, we think weather conditions will start improving pretty rapidly as this stuff makes its way out of our area. We've had several severe thunderstorm warnings issued for the area across portions of Coryell County, north of Fort Hood, and north of Gatesville. We've had several strong storms make their way through Lampasas County. We had a severe thunderstorm warning for that one as well. Had a tornado warning for a storm just to the north of Waco as it came off of Lake Waco heading towards I-35, moving towards the east, that certainly showed some circulation in the mid and upper levels, but we weren't seeing tornado development out of it. We're getting some reports of hail out of it with a lot of lightning and heavy downpours of rain, and then the circulation just wasn't as pronounced as it had been. So that warning for Doppler indicated possible tornado was allowed to expire. Still watching very heavy rains in kind of a bow echo that's kind of outlines the county lines of McLennan County and Limestone County and Falls County there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but just to the east or just to the right of Waco on your map there, I would imagine we've got some really strong winds and some of this stuff, in addition to some very heavy rains going on from just to the south of Hubbard and Coolidge and that area on down towards Mart, and then curving around just to the north of Marlin through Riesel, very heavy rains, Periato getting some very heavy rain there as well, and then tapering off in another small cell just to the north of Chilton, it looks like. And again, this action is all moving towards the east, towards East Texas, towards the Louisiana state line pretty rapidly. Put this all into motion, you can get an idea of the movement of this stuff. It's been quite an interesting day. And it's going to be an interesting day for us weather-wise as well once this moves on out, because once this Pacific system pushes this rain on through and out of our region, we've got another Canadian front coming down the plains right now, and that will come into our area about 4 or 5 o'clock or so this afternoon. No weather really associated with that other than a north wind, and that north wind is going to cool us back off again tonight. Sunday night, Monday morning, we're looking at temperatures probably around 40 degrees and possibly down into the upper 30s on Tuesday morning before things start warming back up again. Very spring-like pattern setting up for us, and this is just the beginning edges of it. Take a look at this stuff out to the west of us. Now, this is not really affecting us here locally, but an extreme western portion of our viewing area to around Goldthwaite there. Let me try to zoom in on this. You've got some pretty good little echoes showing up around Brownwood and Comanche there. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, look at that. Just several pretty good little thunderstorms making their way across Lake Brownwood. Possible hail producers there just to the north of Goldthwaite. Some moderate to heavy rain. Still a lot of lightning showing up on this stuff. We'll follow Highway 84 in here. You get a break in the action a little bit in Evant, but another round of rain makes its way through Gatesville and on over towards Lorena, Waco, and again, this stuff moving out of the south back towards the north. Generally southwest towards the northeast, but certainly south to north across the area with some very heavy rains and strong gusty winds and occasional really heavy downpours of rain with those winds as well. Let's see what the Weather Service is saying here in the chat room. Yeah, they're keeping an eye on the storm over in Limestone County, east of Mart. Looks like their Weather Service and the Severe Storms Forecast Center is considering relining the tornado watch, or actually we're issuing a new tornado watch, which will be more to the north of us. Let me back that up there. There we go. So you see where the red shading here is on this watch right now, which runs until 8 o'clock. Then the new tornado watch will pick up from that area and take it back over in the direction of Greenville and maybe even as far east as Shreveport, Bossier City, and up towards Texarkana, but certainly Greenville in that area and
Hey, Andy.
Towards Paris. Yes, Zach.
Okay, so I just thought we would revisit Max 2 and look at that bow echo that you've kind of been pointing out here a couple of times briefly. Looks like that one continues to be the strongest segment of the line that continues to impact central Texas. If we'll go over to Max 2, I can dive deeper into that bow echo and show where the strongest winds are.
Looks like they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that bow echo now as well. And I think you've got Max 2.
Okay, and it looks like we're also going to get a tornado warning as well. So they're going to issue a tornado warning on part of this segment. So we talk about these sometimes with these straight line winds where we can get brief spin-ups here. And you can see where the brighter shading is showing up there just south of what Highway 164 there. This is east of Waco. So it looks like we possibly have one of those brief spin-ups. Now this whole Boeing segment here, and Andy, you've talked about this whole Boeing segment could be producing 70 mile per hour wind gusts. And then inside on the leading edge of these line segments, you can get brief spin-ups. So we do have a new tornado warning inside this thunderstorm warning, and we'll stop it right here. And if there is a tornado possibly trying to very quickly develop, it's going to be right here southeast of Mart to the west of Groesbeck. So if you live along Highway 164 between Mart and Groesbeck, you need to be doing your tornado warning safety precautions. You need to be indoors, obviously, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We could be seeing a tornado trying to rapidly develop, and that happens inside these line segments on these leading edge of these straight line winds. We've talked about this over and over and over again. That you go one scan, it's not there, and the next scan 5 minutes later comes in, and you've got this tightening circulation. So a tornado warning, this is for Limestone County. We had the tornado warning earlier for McLennan County. That circulation is weakened and moved off. This is a different tornado warning that has just been issued for portions of Limestone County and Freestone County. And this is going to go until 6:30 a.m. this morning. Possible brief tornado trying to rapidly develop, and we can circle the area of circulation. This is right where that tornado would be if it is developing on the leading edge of some very strong winds. So again, if you live between Mart and Groesbeck, or you live around Groesbeck on Highway 164, you need to be in your tornado shelter. You need to have as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And again, that is a brief, local, isolated possible tornado. You zoom out here. We'll clear that off and we'll zoom out a little bit. This is a tornado warning inside a thunderstorm warning where we could be seeing straight line wind gusts 70 miles per hour on this Boeing feature right here. So now you start talking about, okay, now we could be seeing 70 mile per hour damaging winds anywhere on the leading edge of this. So all of Limestone County, if you're waking up, looking out the windows at the lightning show that's going on, you need to, again, move away from the windows, get as deep interior of your home or building that you can, because not only do we have a possible embedded tornado trying to develop along Highway 164 between Mart and Groesbeck, but we could be seeing 70 mile per hour wind gusts anywhere along this line moving towards Mejia. So all of Limestone County and then down the line Freestone County, you need to heads up to you. You've got a severe thunderstorm warning for up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter size hail, and then we've got a tornado warning embedded in there where we could be seeing a possible tornado trying to rapidly develop. We can go back and zoom in where the possible tornado would be. And we'll back up scans here, and you can see how quickly this develops. Right there to the east of Riesel, and it's tightened up that circulation a little bit, where we're seeing those reds and greens come together. This is where we possibly have that tornado rapidly developing right in here, and then moving off quickly to the northeast. So they can spin up very quickly, and we mentioned that earlier, Andy. These tornadoes on the leading edge of these straight line wind events, they spin up very quickly. They're typically short-lived. They're usually on the lower end of the EF scale. What do I mean by that? EF0, EF1, sometimes up to EF2, but they're typically short-lived. They're very brief, and they're on the lower end of the EF spectrum. But within all of this entire line could be producing up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So I'll let you start talking again, and I'll time out this whole line here of possible 70-mile-per-hour winds. With really anywhere in this thunderstorm warning here, a tornado tag, as you mentioned, is possible, meaning that if that circulation weakens here quickly around Highway 164 between Martin and Grosbeck, you could see other little circulations at any moment spin up along the leading edge of this line.
Thank you, Zach. I guess one of the saving graces, because of the social distancing that we've done, most of your sunrise Easter morning services aren't being done in person, so we don't have crowds of people getting out into this weather this morning. Everybody is staying, sheltering in place, as it were. So that's some very good news for us. But we still have certainly structural damage that is a potential for us here in central Texas with these storms rolling through. Very heavy rains. There is a threat of lightning. There is a threat of hail. As you just heard Zach reiterate, we have a severe threat of wind damage, not only from straight line winds, but also from very quick little spin-up tornadoes. And that is what we are looking at right now, crossing through south central portions of Limestone County. Again, this is largely a rural area. Let me go in a little closer on this, and I am on max. There we go, max 1. Thank you, Sean. In that area, from Mejia south towards Grosbeck, you've got Fort Parker, you've got the Confederate Reunion Grounds, but a lot of this is ranch land here, and not to say that damaging weather is not a bad thing for ranch land. We don't have as large a population that can be threatened. At the same time, we still have the threat to barns, we have the threat to homes, we have threat to municipalities with wind damage, and certainly looking at potential for wind damage with this bow-shaped echo that is stretching from north to south across the region. And one of the main reasons you have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Limestone and portions of Freestone County. Now, with the Doppler indicated circulation going on, then we have the tornado warning that was issued for that area inside that severe thunderstorm warning. So coinciding together, same area, severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 6:45. We're warning for the potential for a tornado until 6:30 this morning. So you're looking at another 40 minutes or so on these storms, and everything you're looking at here is moving out of the southwest to the southeast, and let me put a tracker on this for you. So you can see this line of storms that are moving here, and they're going at about 35 miles an hour. Puts that through Horn Hill, Forest Glade, and Springfield by 6:20, Port Enterprise by about 6:30, Booker T. Washington School by about 6:40, through Tig about 6:41. Fairfield almost 7 o'clock this morning, and over into Turlington a little after 7 o'clock. You know, these storms embedded in this activity affecting Limestone and Freestone counties for the next hour or so before the storm is out of their area. But behind that, we have more rain going on and more storms affecting the area as well. So we're going to keep an eye on all this stuff as we go through this Easter morning. Happy Easter to you. Let's see if we can. There we go. Get all that off the screen once again. And let's go back and take a look down here. Bell County. Moderate to heavy rain still falling. Very heavy rain falling back through Coppers Cove, Killeen, and Belton right now. Let's see what the Weather Service is saying. There we go. Brand new tornado watch has been issued, as I said, to the east of the one that's covering our area right now till noon today for Freestone, Henderson, Leon, Limestone, and Andersen counties, Navarro and Robertson counties until noon today for, again, more of the same weather, just shifting over towards the east a little bit. So, again, a busy day for us today and a busy Easter as well across the region. Let me back out a little bit on this and give you let you see where the red shading area, which delineates the tornado watch. So, as I said, I thought it would probably take you over towards Shreveport, Bossier City, and certainly did. Takes you all the way over into north central Louisiana with the latest tornado watch that's in effect until noon today. So, very busy day for us here in central and north Texas as some very inclement weather, if you will, cruising across the region with some very heavy rains and wind and hail and possible even tornadic activity. So far, no reports of any damage and no confirmation on tornadoes yet either, but we will continue to keep a very close eye on that. We had a tornado warning for McLennan County, just to the north of Waco, earlier this morning. If you're just joining us, never saw any touchdown with that, never got any confirmation on it, but we were seeing some circulation on Doppler radar. So it was radar indicated with very heavy rain, but no confirmation on it, so that one was allowed to expire. Now have a potential tornado there in Limestone County, that area just to the west of Groesbeck. Get in close on that. Again, Sean is our director. Sean, do me a favor and let's switch over to Max 2. Just real briefly here, I want to take a look at the winds embedded in this storm. And a nice close-up look at this storm in Limestone County. Very strong winds, and it looks like the center of the winds showing up in and around Groesbeck right now, but I'm not seeing circulation with it. Very strong straight-line winds, as Zach was talking about. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Andy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Yeah, I was just going to talk with you about the winds there.
There you go.
I don't see it looks like that circulation has definitely weakened, but what we could be seeing is maybe 70-mile-per-hour winds around Groesbeck, north of Highway 14 there. Those certainly look like maybe the strongest winds in all of Limestone County.
Right.
What do you think?
I am with you 100%. That was what caught my eye. I looked over my shoulder and saw that, and that's why I was kind of like wanting to go back over to that graphic and take a look at it. I'm glad you're there and jumping on that for me.
Yeah, I don't think the tornado threat doesn't look imminent as it was trying to tighten up a little bit between Mart and Groesbeck, but certainly if you're in the Groesbeck area or along Highway 14 north of Groesbeck, you could be experiencing 60 up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and again, that's what the thunderstorm warning is for. And looking back down the line, I don't see any other tight circulations right now. Even south of Groesbeck, down towards southern Limestone County, you still could be seeing wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour, but it looks like those strongest winds are certainly right there around the Groesbeck area. So as far as an imminent threat for damaging straight line winds, my eye is focused right there on Groesbeck to the north.
Yeah, right there close to Fort Parker in that area. Boy, those kind of winds, they could tear the tin roof off a barn real quick like. And of course, shingles on a home as well could be damaged. I'm with you. I don't see the tornado threat with that system anymore, but that could change. I mean, with those straight line winds, as you said, that could they spin right back up again. Fortunately, haven't seen a whole lot in the way of any hail threats or reports so far either. And I have not, as I looked at the
yeah, it seems like most of the hail threats that have come in have been small.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything even really up to a quarter. And another thing, when we see these lines get together, the hail threat kind of goes down too. When you have those individual supercells, which we started out with, when you jumped on a couple of hours ago, early this morning, and those storms were still kind of independent out there, so to speak, that's where those supercells aren't really having to compete with the air, that warm, muggy, unstable air around them like they are now, and they can have those big hail threats, strong winds, tornadoes. When they get in these straight lines, I know people at home are like, hey, storms seem still pretty intense. The tornado threat really goes down, the wind threat goes up, and the hail threat goes down. So, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen any reports of anything substantial. So, forewarning to everybody out ahead of this line, you could see some small hail, but as far as hail threat goes, it may be going down, which is a good thing for us.
Hey, Sean, let's go back over to Max 1 here. We'll get out a little wider look. I think we're in a commercial break right now. If we're not on a commercial break, we are looking at a tornado watch in effect for much of the Waco-Temple-Killeen area and central Texas, in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. At that time, these storms should be moving out of the Waco-Temple-Killeen area and over into the area east of I-35. So a brand new tornado watch has been issued for much of the area that had not been covered before, east of I-35 for central Texas and over into East Texas and actually over into north central Louisiana. We have a tornado watch in effect till noon today. That means this stuff is continuing to truck on towards the east and the northeast and is going to be causing headaches for East Texans and Louisiana residents until at least noon today before it moves on out of the lower Mississippi Valley. We've been tracking this stuff out of northern Mexico across the southwest portions of the state and the Trans-Pecos and the Edwards Plateau into the Texas Hill Country overnight tonight. And right on track, like the forecast models indicated, the stuff was going to come rolling in here just before sunrise, and that certainly has been the case for us. With some very heavy rains, couple of scares with potential tornadic activity. Again, we had one radar indicated tornado to the north of Waco near Lake Waco that made its way across I-35 in the vicinity of Elmont in that area. Never really had good circulation, never had a touchdown on it, never had eyewitness confirmation of a tornado, but we had some loose circulation going on with it, I guess you could say, as it made its way across I-35 and over into the extreme western portions of Limestone County. Now we have a second little storm that brewed up. We have a severe thunderstorm watch, rather a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Limestone County, portions of Falls County right now. And in that, we saw a brief little tight circulation that is making its way between Groesbeck and Mahia right now. A tornado warning up for that one, but again, no touchdown on that, no reports of any damage from that. But still, Tornado warning is in effect for us until 6:30 there in Limestone County and adjacent portions of Freestone County. That area of Freestone County to the west of I-45. So that gives you an idea of what we're covering there as well. Let's see. The big threat has died down at least a little bit. So we've gone back to regular programming on the air, but continuing our coverage here on social media. Again, very heavy rains falling up and down the I-35 corridor right now. Strong gusty winds. Winds have diminished a little bit in this echo that we were watching, that bow echo from Navarro County on down into Freestone County, Limestone County, and on into Falls County right now. But still winds of 40, 50 miles an hour with this storm. And again, all of this action is heading towards the east and northeast. We will go in a little closer on this storm down here near Marlin. Some very heavy rain indicated in that storm. And again, this is that storm also embedded in that area that is covered by that severe thunderstorm warning. We will track that one as well. This storm near Marlin is going to be affecting Stranger and Blue Ridge and Thornton and Davis Prairie over the next 20 minutes or so, through Personville and Doney through about 7:10, with very heavy rains, a lot of lightning, and the potential for probably some small hail, as Zach was indicating. We've not really seen any hail cores showing up in these storms. The vertically integrated liquids have not been showing anything that would suggest much in the way of hail. So we're not seeing any hail tracks in these storms, but again, small hail is not going to be out of the question. A lot of lightning and some brief heavy downpours of rain very likely with these storms. A lot of lightning as well. And of course, probably the biggest threat is the winds we've been experiencing with these storms. And it looks like we will continue to experience with these storms for the remainder of the morning. Happy Easter. Not the kind of weather conditions we like for a holiday like this, but as my neighbor says, we take what we can get, and no matter what we get, it's what we got to be happy with. Let's see, up in Navarro County, which is just to the north of our tornado warning there in Limestone County, looking at very broad rotation, but still winds of 40 to 50, maybe as high as 55 miles an hour along, and just to the east of I-45. So again, we've got another area that we're concerned with there. Tornado warning in Limestone County is indicating some hail. Now this is radar indicated. This is not eyewitness indicated. This is radar indicated. So we're not confirming this yet, but there's potential there for 1-inch diameter hail for Freestone and Limestone counties. In that squall line that I was mentioning earlier, close to the Confederate Reunion Grounds and Fort Parker State Park over Lake Mejia, and all that activity was really moving fast. It was moving towards the northeast around 50 miles an hour, and we all kind of got that idea from what we were seeing on that as well. Let's see. Heavy rains continue, even though things have slacked off a little bit for Waco. We're still seeing some pretty good rain and some heavy, rather gusty winds there. But from about Lorena southward, you're still looking at some pretty heavy downpours of rain at this moment. Of course, that can change pretty rapidly. But we'll go in a little closer on that radar. Still give you an idea of where we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Falls County and Limestone County, and even a portion of Freestone County Now, where the heaviest rain and wind signature is showing up, and that's in that severe thunderstorm warning. But then coming further south from about almost from Robinson, then on down through Lorena to Moody and to Troy and Bruceville and Eddy, all the way down through Pendleton to Temple. Moderate to heavy rain continues to fall, and I can hear it on the roof of our studio here in downtown Temple coming down real hard. Occasional clap of thunder as well. And in Bell County, close to, or maybe just a little bit south of the Grove, pretty good echo showing up near Moffett there on the extreme north end of Belton Lake. Some very heavy rain, and I would imagine that's also accompanied by winds in excess of 40 miles an hour as well. And this rain and wind, welcome everyone. If you're just joining us, we're still tracking these Easter Sunday morning storms across central Texas. I am Channel 6 Chief Meteorologist Andy Anderson. We have a tornado watch in effect along and west of I-35 that'll expire at 8 o'clock this morning. We've had a brand new tornado watch issued for the area east of I-35 that stretches over into central and northern Louisiana. So it's going to stay a busy day for those areas east of I-35 through noon or so today, it looks like, with the rain that still continues to fall across the region right now. We've had several scares with Doppler radar indicated tornadoes. One of those was just to the north of Waco. Good news is we never got any confirmation of any touchdown, and we never saw a real confirmed signature on the Doppler radar, but certainly was a wind producer, and I will be surprised if we don't get lots of reports of wind damage in that area north of Waco back through Abbott and to west, and then through the rural areas on back over into adjacent portions of Hill County as well with that storm. Now, that area is producing very heavy rains, a lot of lightning and strong winds from extreme portions of eastern Falls County through Limestone County, where we have another severe thunderstorm warning in effect, where we had another Doppler indicated tornado that spun up and then spun back down again real quick without getting any reports of any damage so far. We very likely, though, will see wind damage from that, as well as this looked like a wind producer, straight line winds of perhaps 60, 70 miles an hour. Again, that's unconfirmed, but certainly suggested by the trained eyes watching the Doppler radar here. And this one is still in progress. They're getting some very strong winds in that area between Groesbeck and Mahia right now, and that has prompted the tornado warning that they have going on in progress right there. Line of showers stretches from way up north to the Interstate 20 corridor north here, as you can see, to the east of Dallas, and all the way back through our area, stretching down to Georgetown, to Blanco, and close to Johnson City. Still, we're watching the storms in progress, and they have a tornado warning in effect for that area, just to the southwest of Georgetown right now, until 6:15. So, very volatile weather situation going on for us, and very heavy rain I can hear on our roof of the studio in downtown Temple right now from another round, another band, another surge of rain coming through central Texas and through Bell County at this hour. Run down on watches and warnings for you. We have a tornado watch in effect for all of central Texas, basically. We have one watch that will expire at 8 o'clock this morning for the area along and west of I-35 as we see weather conditions improving a little bit later this morning. But that weather that was west of I-35 moves to the east side of I-35 and over towards I-45, and that's what's occurring right now. And as it continues moving towards I-45, then we feel like the weather conditions will be worse in deep East Texas and Louisiana. So the second tornado watch is in effect in those areas back over to the east of us. Individual storm warnings. We have had several severe thunderstorm warnings posted through the morning hours. Right now, the only one that is in progress is one that covers mostly Limestone County for those strong gusty winds I was talking about a few minutes ago, and that possibly produced a tiny F1, F0 tornado there along Highway 14 between Mejia and Groesbeck in the vicinity of Fort Parker. I'm not saying that Fort Parker got hit, but in that general area is where we're talking about, between Groesbeck and Mejia. Very strong winds. Even if we didn't get a tornado in those areas, we certainly got some strong straight line winds in that area, with winds very likely in the 60 to 70 mile an hour range. And again, we still have a tornado warning for those storms and those winds in the general Mejia area. Move this down a little bit, you can see a little bit better. Yeah. Generally located around the Mejia area there and stretching across into Freestone County. And once again, we've had a new tornado watch now. Hear what I'm saying, not a warning, a watch. Watch means that the conditions are favorable for strong storm development, and that's what we have, is that we have watches in effect for much of the area. Warning means that there is a storm in progress or about to develop within a very short amount of time. And that's what a warning means, that it's already in progress or it's about to become in progress. A watch means that you've got a little time to prepare for it. But we all know that this time of the year is when we start seeing severe weather. So we need to have our severe weather plans in place and in progress. And we're certainly getting the drill for that across the area with the threat of tornadic-like activity and strong damaging winds across the area. Winds.
Andy?
Yeah.
If we go over to Max 2, I can show that latest tornado watch graphic, which pretty much
there you go.
Includes all of Central Texas. Let me know. I've got a little bit of delay here on my video feed, so let me know when that watch box is up.
You got it.
Okay, awesome. So all the counties in red here, pretty much everything along and west of I-35, and I know Andy said this just a little bit ago. All the counties along and west of I-35, that watch goes until 8 a.m. That's a good chunk of Central Texas. And then mainly out around I-45, that's going to go until noon. And we will start to see the National Weather Service likely trimming from west to east. So our far western counties will be the first to go. There's still a few thunderstorms way back towards the west. Though I think the main severe threat, and I think Andy has kind of voiced this as well, is what you're seeing now from Georgetown up to Temple, over to Marlin, and back to Mejia. That line of storms, that's our main severe threat. So as that continues to work east, so will our severe weather threat. Now they'll hold on to the watch box in the counties out towards the west for a little bit longer, just to make sure. But overall, I do believe our severe threat is for areas along and east of the line of storms, from Temple to Marlin to Mejia, and again points eastward. So pretty much the entire Brazos Valley hasn't been impacted yet. This line of storms is going to continue to move in closer to you. The greatest concern right now is damaging wind gusts. We do have the one severe thunderstorm warning for Limestone County, extreme eastern, southeastern areas of Falls County, but mostly Limestone County into Freestone County, and that's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. I've been trying to answer a lot of questions and give updates here on our social media Facebook page. So we get a lot of questions from Bell County. Yes, the line in Bell County is rocking and rolling, but but we do not have any warnings. Everything is pretty much below severe limits. It is producing a lot of rainfall, very, very heavy rainfall. So if you live in low-lying, poor drainage areas, some minor flooding certainly going to be a possibility anywhere along this line. Areas are going to pick up at least a quick inch, and some locally higher amounts will be possible. So the way this line's kind of oriented from southwest to northeast, you're getting to these. The overall line is moving east, but the storms within the line are moving southwest to northeast, kind of training over the same area. So let's kind of do a tour here from south to northeast. A lot of lightning, quite the show here in Bell County. We've got some very, very heavy rainfall. So if you live next to a small stream or creek that the water rises, I'm sure we're seeing the water rise right now. If your street floods easily, you're in a low-lying, poor drainage area, we're probably seeing a little street flooding, a little urban flooding. But again, this will continue to move off towards the east. But we've picked up a lot of rainfall here in the last hour or so across Bell County. Winds have been below severe limits, but we've probably seen some wind gusts easily around 40 miles per hour. The strongest winds are now going to be east of I-35. But still, a nice, strong thunderstorm here in Bell County, but it is below severe limits as we work our way back to the northeast. And again, as this line, these reds and yellows move east, Copper's Cove, Killeen, you could still see an isolated thunderstorm redevelop on the backside, but the severe threat, I think, is wrapping up for you. Same thing in Gatesville. I know we're focusing a lot on the line of storms, and rightfully so, but hey, Goldthwaite, Gatesville, I think the severe threat's over, but a few lingering isolated thunderstorms are still coming through. Same thing for Hamilton, same thing up for Meridian. Waco, you've got some thunderstorms in there, but I think the severe threat is east of you. Still got a nice cluster of storms up there around Bruceville, Eddy, and Troy, so we'll continue to watch those. Working up towards Marlin and into Limestone County, this is where we're going to see the greatest threat right now for any damaging winds or any severe weather. You can see the lightning here, very intense. Lightning, we use that as a good indicator if storms are ticking up or if we're seeing them weaken a little bit. When our lightning ticks up or stays up, then we know that storm is healthy or it's strengthening some. So this line of storms is moving east. Again, this is being warned for the possibility of wind gusts embedded in here of up to 70 miles per hour, and we have that threat for brief spin-ups in here. This is where our current tornado warning is pretty much now in just Limestone County, and it does look like they've extended that all the way to the northeast to the that's Freestone County now. So the tornado warning is now just in Freestone County, so we'll continue to watch that. And that's for brief spin-ups, can't be rolled out. If we look at the wind field here, so again, very heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. The winds are the greatest threat. Not really seeing much with the hail threat either. And when these lines develop and we're no longer seeing those individual supercells out there, when they start to congeal into these lines, our hail threat goes down. You could still have embedded pockets of small hail, maybe up to quarter size, but right now the hail threat seems very, very low with this line. And your tornado threat goes down. We've said this a couple of times, but if you're just now joining us and we've got new viewers, the tornado threat goes down in these lines of storms. The EF scale, it's usually on the lower end, EF zeros, EF ones, maybe up to EF twos possible, and they're usually very brief, but there has been a little tightening there, a little couplet that has been moving through Limestone County is now in Freestone County. And so if we're going to see any kind of possible tornado trying to tighten up, and why do we have the tornado warning? It's for this area right here to the west of Fairfield, and computer's freezing up here a little bit. There we go. I'll circle the area that we're watching. This is the area that is for the reason that's created the tornado warning here, and maybe trying to tighten up a little bit. It's kind of been in and out. We've seen it cycle, but that is the area that we're watching. If there's a tornado trying to develop currently with this tornado warning, it's going to be right in there. What we have been watching, though, throughout this entire line is the potential of 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and I can back that up for us as well. And let me zoom us out here a little bit and kind of show you all of Limestone into Freestone County. That is what could be of greater concern because these straight line winds can affect a much larger area than these brief spin-ups. Now we are getting farther and farther away from the radar site, which is well up to the northwest, so we're looking a little bit more in the mid-levels of these thunderstorms. We're not seeing down very low. We know these storms are creating a lot of winds, but you see the bright blues and light greens there southwest of Mejia. That's when we saw the circulation really tighten up. That triggered the warning. If we didn't see a tornado, we probably saw some very strong winds around Mejia or to the south. Could have been 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming through there. And really, we saw the wind field really expanding across a bigger portion of western limestone. It looks like the wind field's not as widespread as far as producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, but it's on this leading edge, and you kind of see how it looks like a backward C, and I'll outline it for you here. The reason we call these bow echoes is because you see how it bows out there. The reason is because strong winds are coming in behind it, and it's really surging that rain out ahead, and that shows up on radar as a backward C. So that's where we know there's some strong wind gusts, and this warning again is for up to 70 miles per hour. And I know a lot of you out there all across Central Texas have been talking about trampolines been blowing around and gusty winds. Well, if you're going to find the strongest winds right now, they're going to be approaching the I-45 corridor there in portions of Freestone County. So heads up to you, that's where the greatest wind threat currently is. I know there's a lot of rain, there's a lot of lightning all across Central Texas, but the greatest wind threat currently is right here in Freestone County. We do have the tornado warning because brief spin-ups are possible along that, and we're getting that bow-shaped echo there because, again, and we'll go back to reflectivity, and I'll turn the lightning off. You can see it. Reflectivity, the difference between this and what I was showing you a second ago, velocity shows the winds, reflectivity is going to show us the hail and the rainfall. So we're seeing a little bit of that bowing feature there because we're seeing those strong winds coming in through Mejia and pushing that rain outwards to the east. So greatest threat for some strong winds are going to be right there around I-45 to the east of Mejia. Some very strong winds came through Mejia. If you live in Mejia, you can text us pictures if you do have any damage, or anywhere else across Central Texas. You can text us videos. You can text us storm damage. Send us what you're seeing out there to 254-859-5481. Again, that number is 254-859-5481. Let us know what you've seen or what you're currently seeing. But yeah, we do have the tornado warning that continues for Freestone County. It's for the northern half of Freestone County, and it's because we could see brief spin-ups along this leading edge. So Fairfield, heads up to you. You may not see a brief tornado, but you could see this line of storms producing 60 up to 70 mile per hour winds coming into your area. So treat it like a tornado where you're not hanging out by the windows watching the lightning show. Yeah, we want your pictures and your videos, but do it when it's safe to do it. Where this goes from yellows to orange to reds, that's the leading edge of this line, and that's where we can see the damaging wind threat. There are some little pinks showing up around Wortham, maybe some embedded small hail, but the hail threat is very low right now, maybe small hail to the size of quarters. Again, a lot of lightning, very heavy rainfall, and we're seeing those strong winds. So I know a lot of questions. Everybody's experiencing the heavy rain here across Central Texas, wondering where the severe weather is, where is it over. Again, right now, look at this line, and I'll let it play, I'll let it resume here on a 1 hour loop. That dark red line from Corsicana to Fairfield to Mejia, and it bends back down to Marlin towards Temple. That is the severe line. So as that line races east, our severe threat is going to go to the east. On the backside, Goldthwaite, Hamilton, Meridian, Hillsboro, now getting closer to Waco. I think the severe threat is rapidly decreasing for you. Again, as long as you're around that line or to the east of it, that's where the greatest concern is for severe weather going deeper into the morning hours. It's now getting closer to 6:30, so we're getting close to 7 a.m. And model data, really, for the last couple of days, had a great handle on things and continued to suggest that as we got closer to sunrise on Easter Sunday, the threat should be moving into the I-45 corridor, and that's what we're seeing. But the way that that line bends back down towards Temple, the storm's inside there, inside that line, even though it's advancing east, the storm's motion inside the line is southwest to northeast. So you're going to get some training of those thunderstorms over top of you, so it's going to seem like it's going to linger for quite a while. Sometimes we often see these storms move in and blow through quickly, but the way this line is oriented southwest to northeast, it's going to linger on top of you for a little bit, and it's going to be, again, very windy. It's going to rain a lot, and it's going to be quite the lightning show outside. But again, that severe threat's going to continue to move to the east. We've got some redevelopment of showers around Lampasas, Gatesville. But again, the main severe threat, I think, is along and east of this line. We'll continue to watch those thunderstorms west of I-35 developing. And in the Brazos Valley, you guys have been quiet. You guys haven't had them a whole lot this during the overnight hours now into the morning, but you'll see this line moving into your area. You still have an unstable, warm, muggy air mass in place, so I do expect the line of storms to continue their strength. Again, Bell County, if you're wondering, areas east of I-35, you could still see some wind gusts around 40, maybe up to 45 miles per hour, some heavy rain, some lightning. Everything's below severe limits. It's pretty much well behaved for you in Falls County, but the line gets a lot stronger as it gets into Limestone County around Thornton and then bends back to the northeast around Fairfield. Andy?
Sean Hobbs is our director. Sean, punch up Max 1 here. I want to show the lightning that's going on. It's quite a electrical show been going on here, almost constant lightning. This is from our Standard Insurance Agency Skylight weather camera in downtown Temple, where the lightning just continues, as Zach was saying, is constant. Getting some reports of a little bit of damage around central Texas. In Groesbeck, flooding at the underpass. If you're in Limestone County, you know the one I'm talking about. It's the one there under the railroad tracks close to the Dairy Queen on Highway 164. You got some flooding in the underpass going on there. We've got reports of strong gusty winds doing some possible roof damage between Groesbeck and Mahia. They're off of Highway 14 as well. Very heavy rains, as Zach was saying, continue across central Texas, and quite a light show for you early risers. If you were even able to sleep through any of this stuff this morning, it has been coming down pretty hard. There's the radar, and we're still tracking a pretty solid line of showers from down at the state capitol all the way back up through our area and just to the south side of Dallas right now. And as Zach also mentioned earlier, we're getting these waves of action going on. We have a second wave affecting Hamilton County now that is going to be stretching all the way up towards Stephenville and Mineral Wells, and then eventually into Fort Worth in the next couple of hours or so. And behind that one, we have another small wave of moisture still brewing up across Coleman County, brushing northern Brown County, heading up towards Eastland, and that one too will be following in the footsteps of that storm, making its way towards Mineral Wells as well on this Easter morning 2020. Very heavy rains continue across the area. We have tornado watch that is in effect. Remember, I said tornado watch, not tornado warning. We've had a couple of brushes with possible tornadoes earlier this morning, but so far, knock on wood, we've been blessed here. We haven't seen anything that was really threatening for us, so we've been very, very fortunate with that. Let me call up our radar here. I'm getting a blank screen there. This should show us where the tornado watch boxes are in effect. We have one that's been up for most of the early morning hours, and as we kind of suspected, and Zach mentioned it, we see the Weather Service beginning to whittle away those counties out west that are in the clear, and most all the counties that are west of the Colorado River, west of San Saba, west of Lampasas, west of Burnett counties, they're cleared out. Burnett County is cleared out. We've still got the Austin area and Georgetown and down towards Bastrop still included in this this watch. And then late this morning we had a new tornado watch issued for those areas east of central Texas, from the Waco, Temple, Killeen area back over to include Nacogdoches and Lufkin and Greenville and all the way up into Bossier City and Shreveport and much of north and north central and northwestern Louisiana now under a new tornado watch box that is in effect until noon today, which means that the weather that's been affecting us is holding together and continuing to truck its way across north half of Texas and into Louisiana as we head into the early afternoon hours today on Easter Sunday. Very wet start to the this holy day for us here. And it's an improving weather picture out to the west of us. As we look wide on the radar, it's not over with for us. I'm going to go in close on this and show you where the storms are in progress across our region right now. Some very heavy rains falling right along and west of I-35 from Georgetown up the east side of the interstate to Gerald and to Salado, over to Rogers and Buckholz. We're getting some very heavy rain. Across Falls County, Rosebud to Lott, over towards Chilton and Durango, you're getting an inundation with rain right now. A little break in the action around Galinda, but not for long because there's more rain going on in and around your area. Same thing is true for Riesel, Perry, and Marlin, on down towards Bremond and on up towards Thornton. The heavy rains, excuse me. The heavy rains continue there. Now, this is part of that same bow echo we talked about with the potential for the wind damage through Limestone and now curving on over towards Freestone County, up through Fairfield and Doney, and that area getting very heavy rains and probably some winds in excess of 50 miles an hour, a good possibility. This is that action just to the north of Buffalo on I-45 there. So it's a very windy, very wet, very wild and woolly kind of Sunday morning for us here. Again, we still have a tornado warning for possible Doppler indicated real small spin up little tornado there in Freestone County, just to the east of I-45. We'll go in a little closer on that and see. This is kind of getting out of the Channel 6 viewing area here, but nonetheless, it's close enough that we'll look at it right here, right along I-45. And this storm is headed in a northeast direction, and it has got a forward progress of 45 miles an hour, and certainly is showing some potential for rotation on that storm. We're not getting confirmation on any of these so far, having been actual tornadoes, but we certainly will keep you posted as that information becomes a little more available to us. Yeah, there we go, looking at that radar, and the lightning still coming down, and then there's a wide angle look. Down along the Gulf Coast, things looking pretty good. Let's see what the Weather Service is saying here. Limestone WeatherNet is reporting several 2 to 3 foot trees are down in multiple locations in between Shiloh and Mexia along Highway 39. They've got power outages as well, a good possibility, straight line wind damage. They're working very hard to try to get a little more information coming in there. Let's see. We've got advisory for very heavy rains causing some flooding in and around Navarro County. While the automated weather observation equipment at Corsicana recording winds in excess of 50 knots, the straight line winds, and that's about a 58 mile an hour wind gust there at Corsicana. So you were reporting a tree fell on a car in Mexia. That's not good news. So it's not over with yet. We still have some very strong winds, and we're still seeing a lot of lightning and heavy downpours of rain across the area as we weather this Easter morning squall line of storms that have been rolling through here. We're going to get back in here again, whittling away a few more counties. We've taken Hamilton and Brown and Comanche counties. Well, Hamilton's still in there for a little bit longer, but I would imagine they're going to drop off pretty quick. Same thing with Mills County. Weather conditions are improving out there. Still looking at some very heavy rains and gusty wind conditions across eastern Falls County, right along Highway 6 as it, or no, not 6, that would be Highway 77, excuse me, Highway 77, stretching from Waco on down through Chilton and Lott and Rosebud to Cameron there, very gusty winds. And that windy stuff continues over into Bell County as well to the southeast of Temple. Zapchikville, in that area, Oscar, Cyclone, Buckholz. You're also in that area getting very heavy rains, a lot of lightning and strong winds as well. This is, as fast as we talk about these storms moving, the whole area of rain just slowly making its way across the I-35 corridor right now. and will continue to affect much of central Texas through the mid-morning hours, likely till probably 9, 10 o'clock or so before we see this stuff now completely out of the way. But certainly, as Zach was saying earlier, we were expecting to get it out of the I-45 corridor by 7 o'clock, and I don't think that's going to happen because it's 23 till 7 now, and still coming down across Bell and Falls County and into Limestone and Freestone counties, coming down pretty good lake across the region. So we're going to be contending with this in the Channel 6 viewing area of Central Texas, Waco, Temple, Killeen for several more hours, and then into probably the midday hours for our extreme eastern counties over on I-45. Now, Centerville has been spared a lot of this weather, although they're getting some very heavy rains, and I would not be surprised to get some gusty winds. But most of the action has stayed north of Centerville, back up towards Fairfield. And I mean, between Fairfield, Mahia, and Corsicana, they've really gotten hit with some weather this morning. And it has not slowed up any, really. It's not as bad as it was. The big winds now, in general, are east of I-45. But continuing to be very strong gusty winds nonetheless across that region. Let's see if there's anything new on the chat room for the Weather Service. Not in our area. The Weather Service issued a thunderstorm warning for Henderson County, but that's a little bit out of our viewing area. So what do we have going on right now? We have strong gusty winds. We have some very heavy downpours of rain, particularly east of I-35. Not much in the way of hail reports, and this type of weather setup really doesn't favor hail that much. We've not seen confirmed tornadoes, although we saw certainly the characteristics that would suggest tornadoes a couple of times on Doppler radar, and we have been warned by the Weather Service for that potential a couple of times with tornado warnings. Still looking at severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Freestone and Limestone counties both right now for a bit longer this morning. And much of the area is still under a tornado watch. And you notice that I'm being very careful in saying it's a watch. It's not a warning. A watch means that the potential is there for severe weather. Warning means that the weather is in progress and it is time to find your safe spot. And when we say warning, then you need to seek shelter. So let's get in here close. We have a thunderstorm warning. That means the storm is in progress right now across much of Limestone and Freestone counties. Now, as we get in closer, we have a warning inside a warning, and a tornado warning in effect inside that thunderstorm warning for much of northwestern Limestone County, Freestone County, excuse me, for the area around and to the north of Fairfield right now, Freestone County. We're very heavy rain and suggestion of some circulation is going on there in that cell just to the west and southwest of Fairfield. I'm going to go in a little closer on that one. See if we can't examine that a little bit. Right along and just to the north of Highway 84 there is this storm. And put a little motion on that and see what we've got. Yeah, I can see what they're talking about there. Okay. Certainly, yeah, there seems to be some suggestion of rain shield there that kind of looks like a hook, although I don't, from this vantage point it's hard to say, but certainly there's a tornado warning in effect for that part of the county. So the area north of Teague, north of Highway 84, and just to the south and southwest of I-45, we have some very heavy rains, very strong winds in progress right now, so there is a tornado warning in effect for that portion of Freestone County until 6:45, and that storm is beginning to wane a little bit, so they will probably allow that warning to expire here on time in just the next couple of minutes or so. Let's zoom back out again. Back along that line we go, and moderate to heavy rain is still falling across Falls County. Be mindful that if you have to get out and drive this morning, you're very likely going to run into water over the roads and low water crossing areas. So please turn around, don't drown. Can't stress enough how important it is to not try to drive through water you don't even know the depth of. It doesn't take but about 12 to 18 inches. I know, just 12 to 18 inches doesn't sound like much, but that's all it takes to float a small, lightweight vehicle. Even a bigger vehicle can get swept off. You've seen the videos of Suburbans and big dualies being swept off the roads because of running water. So just don't even take the chance. It's not worth it. It's just not worth the risk you're taking. Turn around, don't drown, don't get out there and that rushing water over road surfaces. The heavy rain still continues across Falls County, on down across the adjacent areas of Bell County, from Rogers and then on down. I would venture to say it looks like it's still coming down good down at Lake Granger. Very heavy rain still falling right there at the radar site of the National Weather Service radar, located there in Williamson County, right across the county line. Rockdale getting some moderate rain. They're kind of been at the south end of all this stuff, but as you can see by looking, this line of showers is heading in your direction. Lexington and Rockdale, Milano, Cameron, you're about to get some more rain. Could be accompanied by some very strong gusty winds as well. And certainly a lot of lightning still in progress across the area right now, and not likely to wind down for another couple of hours. It has slacked off a little bit here in Temple. We're not seeing the lightning and not the heavy downpours of rain. That stuff has kind of cruised on by. As we look at the radar here, things have improved there. And, the next couple of hours we'll start seeing a few more of these counties out to the west of us being whittled away from this tornado watch that's been in effect for us. And really, the issuance was until 8 o'clock, and that's an hour and 15 minutes away, so a lot of these counties will drop off of that. But still, we will continue to watch the progress of these storms east of I-35 towards I-45 until they're completely out of our viewing area, and we have the all clear being sounded. In progress right now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Henderson County, and we're still running with a tornado warning for Freestone County until 7 o'clock for that area around Fairfield. But again, that looks like a much improved weather picture there across that region. Let me see what they're saying over here in the Weather Service chat room. We had reports earlier of large trees being downed in and around Groesbeck and Mahia, and much of the Limestone County area had reports of some power outages. Box Church is reporting some flooding. We had flooding with water in some of the underpasses there in Groesbeck, where rain really came down hard in that area. 70-mile-an-hour winds in these storms that we're looking at there in Henderson County. That's the one we got the thunderstorm warning for. And again, it's an improving weather picture there across Freestone County. I guess they're just going to let that one expire here in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Well, what is upstream? Improving weather conditions out West Texas way. We're still tracking a little bit of rain down to the Texas Hill Country right now. Back into the big country, it's cleared out. The rain has ended. The winds have dropped off for Abilene, San Angelo. They really got pounded around midnight till about 2 o'clock or so this morning. The next phase of our weather will be coming in this afternoon or this evening. This has been produced by an upper level storm out of northern Mexico and a Pacific frontal system that came in from California, across northern Mexico, across Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas, and got here. Began affecting much of the Lone Star State yesterday afternoon with a dry line very active out around Midland, Odessa, and Abilene, San Angelo. Dry line retreated last night, but the Pacific front kept on coming, and it interacted with that upper level low to bring these storms in the wee hours of the morning on this Easter morning today. Now, on the heels of all this, we have a Canadian front coming down the plains right now through the front range of the Rockies. It's already in the Texas Panhandle and should be pushing through the Waco, Temple, Killeen area 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. We ought to see the wind shifting around to the north, and that's going to cool things off. It'll be a gusty north wind this evening, and our air temperature should be down into I would think at least the low 40s by tomorrow morning and likely to the upper 30s by Tuesday morning for us. So we're looking at a couple of very pretty, very nice spring-like days for us, at least Monday, Tuesday, possibly into Wednesday. Now, as we head towards Thursday and Friday, then we start talking about another shot at some rain back in the picture for us. But until then, we're going to have some nice weather later this morning. Right now, it's already straightening up out around San Saba, and it's getting nicer out around Goldthwaite and Lampasas. The weather conditions are getting better. So just be patient. We'll go back in here and you see that even though we still have tornado watch officially in effect for Mills County and Hamilton County and Lampasas County, rain's pretty well come to an end, or they're moving out pretty rapidly. We're still tracking rain around Jonesboro and up towards Hyco and Dublin there, but that is it's about to move out and into Bosque County. There, we're still seeing a little bit of rain. The old Cowhouse Creek in Coryell County, just east of Evant and north of Adamsville. Still pretty good downpours of rain falling there across the northern end of Fort Hood, and then kind of a broken little area of showers. And that's all I'll call it, just showers down through Burnett County over into Llano County and south on down towards Johnson City and Blanco. Weather conditions will be getting better in those areas as well pretty quick like. Let's see, tornado warning has been canceled for Freestone. That's good news. Let's see, what am I looking at? Limestone County Road 405. Limestone County Road 405. We're getting reports that it is impassable because of water over the road that's flooded. So if you are anywhere near Limestone County Road 402, and I'm not sure if that's in the Groesbeck area or the Bahia area, I suspect it's probably the Groesbeck area, says we seem to have seen more rain in that area. But be that as it may, you're going to run into spots around the area that are impassable because of the water. Also getting a report, same area, Limestone County Road 402, that we have live electrical wires down, and there is an electrical fire. Again, please be extremely careful. This is just not the time to be out looking around and being a looky-loo and sightseer. We're getting reports of roofs blown off in the Riesel Mart, Periato area. Very strong winds, as we talked about, in Falls County as well. So just many reports now beginning to trickle in for us as the worst of the weather has begun to settle down. 40, 50 mile an hour winds, not out of the question anywhere across the region so far this morning. Let's see. And And that's all we have so far on storm reports. Roof damage on structures, Riesel, Perialto. We've got power lines down in Limestone County. So please be careful. You don't need to be out driving around in this stuff this morning. We're all sheltering in place anyway. It's Sunday morning. It's Easter Sunday, so be safe. Be safe, everyone. Well, better weather and conditions are arriving even as we speak. We're seeing the line of showers clearing the I-35 corridor from Belton southward now. Still cloudy. Still dark, but at least the rains have come to an end down towards Salado and Gerald and Georgetown. But the rain is still continuing over on Highway 95 from Rogers on down to Holland and Bartlett. Still getting some really heavy rains and probably some very gusty winds around Bartlett as well right now. And that continues on down towards Taylor as well. And again, this is kind of the trailing edge of that big line of showers that caused the very gusty winds, the very heavy downpours of rain, and all the lightning that we've been watching here for the last several hours. So it's not over yet, but we're starting to wind things down considerably for much of the area of the Waco-Temple-Killeen region proper. Now, we've still got rain, as I said, across eastern Bell County from Rogers on over towards Cameron, then up towards Rosebud, Lott, into Marlin, and that continues still raining in Thornton and Groesbeck, in Limestone County, and over into Freestone County. Very heavy rains still falling between Buffalo and Fairfield right now. So it's not over yet. It's improving in many locations, and the intensity of this stuff is all tapered off a bit, but we're still getting some very heavy rains across much of the Channel 6 viewing area right now. Put that into motion, give you an idea of the trajectory on this stuff, and we'll see what other reports we have being turned into the Weather Service. Let's see. House trailer flipped. And this is in Limestone County again, and between Groesbeck and it looks like Fort Parker area, at least between Groesbeck and Bahia, where we have winds that flipped over a mobile home. In the Mart area, we have reports of roof blown off of a house, and again, winds very likely in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range, area-wide, at times as high as 50 to 60 miles an hour, but certainly in and around these storms we've seen winds gusting at least 30 to 40 miles an hour, very likely. Let's see. Zach is looking at the radar here, I can tell. What have you got, Zach? Anything to add?
Can you hear me there? Is my mic on?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Andy. Yeah, just looking at this line of storms continuing to move to the east. I know you've been mentioning these damage reports that have been coming in. I was also just kind of going back and looking through the radar at the velocity, backing it up over the last hour to 2 hours, and where a lot of these damage reports are coming in extreme southeastern McLennan County around Mart, Lavender, or is it Leander?
Leander.
Lavender, Mart, Riesel. Yeah, those areas. That's where we saw that severe thunderstorm warning come out. It was up to around 70 mile per hour winds, and then we had that tornado warning take over as that area of strong winds quickly moved from extreme southeastern McLennan County around Mart into Limestone County, and then that tornado warning pretty much carried across Limestone County into Freestone County. And we've been getting a lot of, again, those damage reports around Riesel, around Mart, and then across Limestone County. into areas along Highway 164 in between Groesbeck and Mejia. And when I backed it up and looked at the winds, that's where we saw that circulation, not saying that a tornado did form, but near that area where the circulation was that warranted the tornado warning, we were seeing strong winds regardless. And I know we both said that even if this isn't producing a tornado, that's we see the circulation there warranting the tornado warning. We are seeing at least some strong winds in that area. And again, it was being warned for the possibility of winds up to 70 miles per hour. And maybe we saw that. That's where we at least saw where these damage reports are. That's where we saw the strongest winds move across. I backed up again the radar and looked at the winds from southeast McLennan County across Limestone County in these same areas that are reporting these trees down, the power lines down, and then maybe even some roof damage out there. It's right where those straight line winds and that circulation kind of went over. So even if there wasn't a brief tornado, there was some strong straight line winds that raked across eastern McLennan County, Limestone County, and Freestone. And again, that's why we always say, whether it's a tornado warning or a thunderstorm warning, when you're talking about wind speeds 60 plus miles per hour, you don't need a tornado to be able to create damage. We've seen wind gusts 40, 50 miles per hour create damage in the past. So again, no wonder, like you said, once these storms usually pass, we start to get some damage reports in. No wonder that we're going to get some, that we are getting some damage reports in parts of McLennan, especially Limestone County. Because as far as the entire storm went from west to east, the strongest winds that we saw certainly came from areas around Mart and then off towards the east-northeast in between Mejia and Thornton. We saw those winds certainly starting to pick up, and again, we had the thunderstorm warning up to 70 miles per hour. So no wonder that we are getting some damage reports out there. I wonder if we'll continue to get some more. And again, going back looking at the radar data certainly suggests there was at least some strong straight line winds in there, 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour. So that's why you have to heed those warnings. Even if it's not a tornado warning, it's just a thunderstorm warning. You're talking wind speed 60, 70 miles per hour. Those can create a lot of damage. But of course, we had the tornado warning in there too. So we are getting those damage reports in. Radar looks like it's backing up that there could be some damage in those areas. We don't currently have any warnings out there. Again, the line bends back from Freestone County all the way back through Limestone into Falls County, and then getting ready to finally see the rain come to an end in portions of Bells County, but still coming down there pretty heavy around the Rogers area. Looks like the heaviest rain is east of Holland and the Bartlett area. But again, things are quieting down. I'll also want to back up and show you. I know we've touched on this. Again, we do expect the tornado watch to start being wrapped up from west to east. Now, we do have two watches that are overlapping each other. The initial watch that came out, again, went until 8 a.m. That's primarily for areas along and west of I-35, you could say, and then areas out further to the east, Corsicana, Mejia, Fairfield, Centerville, Franklin, Hearn, down to College Station. That row of counties basically goes until noon, but as that line of severe storms continues to move off towards the east, our severe weather threat is wrapping up for our western zone. So I know you're still under a watch for some of the counties west and along of I-35, but I do think the severe weather threat is east of I-35. So if you live in Goldthwaite, you're in Lampasas, Killeen, Gatesville, Hamilton, you're in the clear. There are some lingering showers and thunderstorms. The severe threat is east of you. Harker Heights, Belton, Nolanville, Temple, Troy, Bruceville, Eddy, up the line to Lorena, Waco, West, Hillsboro. I think the severe threat is east of you as well. Areas from Cameron to Hearn to Franklin to Centerville, Buffalo, still want you to be on guard as we are seeing that line of storms move into your area right now. It is below severe limits, but we could see some strong wind gusts pop up in here at any time. And again, there's a lot of rainfall, and there is a lot of lightning out there, and people are starting to wake up a little bit. So just hang out away from those windows, because these lines of storms can kick up very strong winds, and with that, we could see those strong winds pick up some debris out there. Neighborhoods always have trampolines, even in non-severe thunderstorms, that get picked up and tossed around, patio furniture. You don't need 70 mile per hour winds to move that stuff around. Even 40 or 50 mile per hour wind gusts, which are below severe limits technically, can start to kick up some wind. So I would still expect that this line of storms, even though right now it's not being warned for the severe winds, which start at 60 miles per hour and go up, I still think we could be seeing 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts in there. So that, again, don't want you hanging out around windows in case there are some strong gusts in your area, kicking up debris. We don't want any accidents of debris being thrown into windows and then that glass breaking. So that's why we tell you to stay away from the windows. Just stay in the interior part of your home, hunker down a little bit, let this storm pass by. Now, again, we've talked about this a little bit, and there's a lot of flash flooding threats out there, but it's in those low-lying, typical flooding areas you're going to see the water rise as those small streams and creeks, those poor drainage, those urban areas that typically flood in heavy rain events. You're going to see that this morning. So we're seeing some of that out there, minor flooding in the areas that typically flood. You know, if you live or work near one of those areas, you're like, this is one of those areas that always pulls up when the rain gets very heavy and is prolonged. Well, it's going to be a little prolonged here when you've got your band and line of storms that's not oriented north to south, but it's slanted southwest to northeast like this. Then yes, the line is slowly advancing east, but you've got the same thunderstorms training over those same areas. So it takes a while for the rain to move out, and let me tell you, there is plenty of Gulf moisture. There's even Pacific moisture that's streaming in with this big storm system. So there's plenty of moisture in the lower and mid-levels of the atmosphere that this storm system is tapping into and helping wring out as much rainfall as possible. So again, minor flooding is certainly possible in low-lying, poor drainage areas, in the urban, rural areas where you get more of the concrete in the streets in the parking lots. So heads up in those areas. You can see some water pull up. We're not seeing a hail concern right now. There could be some very isolated small pockets of hail embedded in there from Milam County back up towards extreme southeastern limestone into Freestone County. But mainly just a wind threat and a heavy rain threat and a lot of lightning. Again, you can see the lightning as I put that on. The lightning is still out there. We have seen the lightning come down a little bit overall on this line, so that's an indicator that the line is not as strong, but certainly still a strong line of storms out there. And again, we continue to get some damage reports out there, mainly from Limestone County as the line went through. We had that warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that's certainly seems like we're starting to get some reports coming from Limestone that maybe we were seeing those 60, 70-mile-per-hour winds reaching the ground. We also had the possibility of some brief spin-ups in there that we were watching as tornado warnings pretty much went from Limestone to Freestone County until the line exited out of our area. So we may have even had a brief spin-up or two in there. I know the National Weather Service will likely be going out surveying some of this damage in extreme eastern, southeastern McLennan County and Limestone County, maybe even Freestone County in the next day or so. But just stay on guard. Brazos Valley, it's been a quiet morning for you overall with some hit or miss showers here and there, but the line is moving in on you right now. Nothing is severe. It is below severe limits, but certainly has a lot of rain, packing a punch. You can see where your strongest storm clusters are, and I'll even pause the radar. You've got a cluster there in southwestern Milam County where the lightning pocket is. That's going to be a strong storm right there. You've got another pocket of some strong heavy rains and lightnings there, strong storm south of Marlin. And then embedded in this line of storms, you've got another cluster of strong storms to the northwest of Buffalo. I've been following you on social media here, people asking questions. Of course, a lot of people reminding us, hey, don't stop the coverage. We're watching you from Freestone County. We're watching you from Limestone County. We've been tracking this line for you. We're going to continue. There's been a few viewers from Buffalo. Buffalo, if you're watching us, you're going to see that intensity of the rain picking up here, and we're going to see the lightning start to pick up for you as well. But again, currently nothing is severe here in central Texas, but we certainly have a healthy, strong line of storms extending from southeast of Fairfield back towards Cameron and Rockdale and Thorndale. So heads up to you guys, be on guard. Let this strong line of storms move through, and then we're going to get some clearing. We're going to see a lot of sunshine this afternoon, and we are going to see some breezy west winds coming in, and that's a warm wind for us. So temperatures are going to get up near 80 degrees. So this isn't going to be an all-day Easter deal here. This is just for the next couple of hours. We'll get this line out of here in probably the next hour or so, hour and a half. But for Elmont, Waco, Moody, Troy, Temple, Salado, you're in the severe clear. Areas off towards the west, you're severe clear. Everything's okay. The severe threat is now extending from Cameron to Calvert to Ridge to Buffalo. The line is below severe limits, but we want to continue to watch that line as it moves through. You could see some wind gusts 40 miles per hour right now. That's still strong enough to create some issues out there. That's still strong enough to to maybe damage some small trees, to maybe create some electrical issues with power lines. So we'll continue to watch that for you, and quite the lightning show as well. So again, if you're getting damage reports, pictures, videos, we want to see them. We want what we call ground truth. We want to know what's happening out there. Andy and I, we're stuck in here. We're looking at the radar. We can tell you we can read the radar. We can tell you what we see, what we think's happening. But in the end, we don't know exactly what's happening and what you're seeing. We can tell you that the radar and all the tests we took and all the schooling we got, we can break down the radar and tell you where the strongest winds could be occurring, where the possible circulations could be, where the heaviest rain is. We can look at all that. But in the end, we need to know, are those strong winds reaching the ground, or are they staying lofted up above the surface? So send those pictures. If you've got damage video, send it to us at 254-859-5481. That's on the screen there as we're doing this Facebook Live. 254-859-5481. You guys have always been great about doing that, and we welcome it. So please, you can't send us too much video. You can't send us too many pictures. We want to see it. We want to know what you guys are experiencing, and we want to know certainly where the worst is. But yeah, non-severe line right now, but it is still strong. Winds probably up to around 40 miles per hour, plenty of lightning, maybe some very isolated pockets of small hail, but the hail threat is certainly pretty low right now. And again, to wrap it all up, areas on the backside of this line, you know where you live. If you live in Lott, Galinda, Mart, Waco, areas along I-35 or out towards the west, the severe threat is over for you. We're watching the severe threat continue to move off towards the east. There's a few isolated showers lingering on the backside of the system, but the main threat is going to continue to shift off towards the east. And again, we still need to watch this line of storms. You know, we've had a few viewers even say, don't really know what the counties are. You guys are talking about the counties, and it's hard to know exactly where you're talking about. I'll always remind you of this. You can never be too prepared for severe weather, and especially when you live in a part of the country that experiences severe weather or has the threat for severe weather every single year. If you're new to the area, Central Texas, we're going to have the threat for severe weather every single year, certainly during the springtime, but we can see severe weather any time of the year. This is an area that's always going to have the threat for severe weather, so you need to know your counties and the neighboring counties. I know that seems like some homework for you, but when tornado watches or thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings are issued, they're going to be issued by counties. So at the very least, you need to know your county. If you're new to the area, I definitely advise knowing the county that you live in by heart, and then knowing the other surrounding counties around you. Why? So that way, if one of those counties is under a warning of some sorts, then you're going to be on guard saying, okay, well, I know that county's to the west of us, so if they're seeing a thunderstorm warning, then I need to be ready that maybe that storm is moving towards us. Tune into KCEN, and of course we'll give you always the latest of where the storm is and where it's tracking. But again, you can never be too prepared. This is a great reminder if you weren't prepared going into this about what your safety plan is for you and your family when you're at home, where you're going to go. Is your storm shelter cleared out? You don't have a storm shelter, where's the best part of your home? This is a great reminder. Always have those plans drilled inside your heads, so that way when severe weather does happen across Central Texas or is looking possible, you guys don't have to re-talk about it. You already know by heart, well, I always know that this is where we're going to go. We're going to put as many walls between us and the outside as possible. Again, this is early severe season. We've still got all of April to go to, all of May, and we can even have severe weather through the first half of June, our severe season. So a great reminder, be prepared, know where you're going to go, and that way when a warning is issued for your area, you don't have to think about it, you just act and you can go to your safe place. But again, also know your counties. You got to know what county you live in and your neighboring county, so when warnings are issued, you know that that is your county or a neighboring county. Andy?
Have you seen any rainfall totals? Has anybody shot any into you, or have you seen any listed anywhere, Zach? I am suggesting
I have not,
inch and a half, 2 inches is going to be common across the area from what we've seen, and I'm not going to be surprised to see some 3.5 inch rains. I don't. That the echo that we were watching, the rain that was making its way through Limestone County, particularly that bow echo with the big, strong, gusty winds. I'm not going to be surprised to see 2.5, 3 inches out of that one. That was, and these are still in progress. So there's portions of Limestone,
Absolutely.
Freestone County that are still getting inundated with rain right now. Turn around, don't drive. Do not go out and try to drive around in this stuff. We've got damage. We've got mobile homes that have been flipped over by strong gusty winds. We've had power lines down. We have live wires on the ground in spots. We have water across the road. We got tree limbs across the road. We got trees across the road. We got a 12-foot oak tree near Fort Parker that got blown over. So there's a lot of damage out on our roads across Central Texas. It's not just the Groesbeck, Bahia area, but I would hazard a guess that that region between Waco and up towards Abbott and west, you probably got water across some of those roads, those back roads, secondary roads as well. You could easily have power lines down, particularly where we had those very strong straight line winds blowing across. So this is not the time to go out and be a tourist and look around and see where all the damage is, because this could be a real problem across the area. So please keep that in mind. No warnings in effect for our Channel 6 viewing area, but just outside the area, over in the other side of Interstate 45, the other side of the Trinity River, we still have several severe thunderstorm warnings in progress. That's kind of the leading edge of all this stuff. What's coming across us now is kind of a second wave or a third wave of rain, still affecting portions of Williamson County, and now finally down around Cameron we're seeing heavy rains in Milam County, and over into Franklin and Robertson County, we're seeing moderate to heavy rains. Calvert and Hearn getting some very heavy rains. At least Calvert is. Doesn't look like radar is showing much in the way of Hearn getting rain. Bryan College Station looks like they, other than a few sprinkles here and there, have been rain-free so far. The trailing end of this line, as Zach pointed out earlier, is going to make its way into the Brazos Valley, and you will get some rain. I kind of think you probably dodged the bullet on any severe stuff this time around, but that's may be too early to say that, because a lot of times that area down and Bryan College Station and over into Grimes County and back over into Lee County, gets the worst of it when the rest of us don't get anything. So it's still a possibility that down in the Brazos Valley, it's the beginning of possibly a long day. There still remains a tornado watch in effect for the red shaded area. Now, the dividing line on that is because there's two watch boxes. If you're just joining us this Easter morning, happy Easter to you. But along I-45 is basically where the two watch areas overlap. The one west of I-35 was issued early last evening. And that's the area that was affected first. And as this stuff still was holding together, we pretty much knew that there was going to be an extension. We weren't exactly sure where it was going to be, but as this stuff kind of congealed and really we saw the trajectory of it, then the second part of this watch was issued. So the area west of I-35 will see an expiration here. It's slated to expire at 8 o'clock. We've whittled away several counties already that are out of the clear. Severe clear, as Zach calls it. East of I-35, now this watch will go until, it's slated to go till noon. Could go longer, could go shorter. Again, as counties are cleared by this stuff and nothing but blue skies and green lights are showing up, the Weather Service will whittle those counties out on the western edge of this stuff, and we'll see improving weather conditions, and you'll be out from under the gun on that. But for the time being, we still look at the possibility for showers and thunderstorms popping up in this area. A line of showers has not completely cleared the region. The drier air hasn't started settling in just yet across the red shaded areas. Where we have seen it The weather's improving for Abilene. It's improving for Ranger and Eastland. It's improved down to Comanche. Not quite into Hamilton and Goldthwaite, but it's getting there because we're still tracking a few stray showers, stragglers, if you will, making their way through. Burnett's still getting another round of showers making their way through there as well. Nothing severe, but nonetheless, there is still rain going on there. Where the stronger weather is and continues to be is just outside of our viewing area, over towards Henderson County, area just to the other side of I-45, Gallatin, and to or near Tyler and Longview. This area is where we have a severe thunderstorm watch and a tornado warning in effect for one of those spin-up little storms, little F1s, F0s, tornadoes there, but they still can produce wind damage. So please be mindful of that. Things are not completely over with just yet, and wait a little bit longer to go hide those Easter eggs this morning because we've still got at least an hour or two of weather to deal with across much of the Channel 6 viewing area. Coming back closer to the I-35 interstate here, it looks like good weather for us from Waco southward. Just looking out our back door here, it started getting dark. It's still a lot of cloud cover across the area. But you can certainly see a break in the clouds, the thinning of the cloud cover across the region, and an improved weather picture is certainly on the way for us across the region right now. Let me see if we can get a good sky cam picture here from downtown, give you an idea. Let me see what we got here. How about this one? Got it loaded up. There it is. Yeah, see, now this is from downtown Temple. Our studios are looking off in the direction to the southeast. That is obviously that's Scott and White there on the horizon there, and the skies are clearing out to the southeast of us as well. Let's see if we can't pick up a little shot back towards the south and southwest. Still cloud cover, and as we were looking at our radar, we've still got some rain going on in that vicinity from Georgetown on up towards Salado, particularly from like Granger to Rogers and then up Little River Academy. We're still tracking quite a bit of rain in that region as well. So there's still cloud cover down in that direction. So the fun for this Easter morning is not over just yet. Go back to the radar here. No hail showing up around the region, and what we're seeing wind-wise has been embedded in these straight line things. So it's as Zach and I both said, it's a much improved weather picture for us. And well, we're almost 20 minutes after 7 now. Much of the area along and west of I-35 will likely be cleared. The rain that we're seeing out to the west does not look severe. They leave the watch up for administrative purposes, let's put it that way. That was issued till 8 o'clock, and they're going to leave it up till 8 o'clock, unless there was just a very good, clear-cut case that there wasn't going to be any more weather going on. So we still have watch up for those areas west of I-35. East of I-35, yeah, there's still quite a bit of activity going on, and certainly stuff that we want to keep an eye on here for another few hours, at least in our viewing area. We're going to keep an eye on this stuff to be certainly clear that we don't miss anything and nobody gets surprised. Still tracking these storms here. Not necessarily big time severe, but they're producing some wind, they're producing some very heavy rains and very strong updrafts and downdrafts here. So they could be hail producers. They certainly look like they could have the core, but with the winds and the energy that's been spent there, just not seeing much in the way of any hail problems. But as we go over, now this is generally the other side of I-45 from the Waco Temple Killeen area, back towards Buffalo and Palestine. You're looking at showers and thunderstorms still in progress. So with a lot of lightning and heavy downpours of rain and very strong gusty winds, that's enough criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. So you got a very large thunderstorm warning area there, and two of them side by side really, till 8 until 8:15 on those two storms. Again, this is over into northeast Texas, or deep east Texas, let's put it that way. It's not really, go a little bit further north to be considered northeast Texas, but not by a whole lot, I guess, because there's Interstate 20 and Interstate 30, Mount Pleasant, and what have you. Then you're getting into northeast Texas for sure. But as we look at it here, it's a much better weather picture for us here in the I-35 corridor. And again, we have seen reports of wind damage. Most of the wind damage we've seen was between I-35 and I-45, and the greatest share of it was between basically between Groesbeck and Mahia. So far have been the reports that we've seen so far today. It seems to be the worst reports we've seen. Let's see. As we go towards Freestone down to the Leon County line, some 70-mile-an-hour winds could be in and around the Oakwood area. Huh. Okay. That's some of the chatter from the National Weather Service chat room, telling us over here. The region we're talking about is this area here. Where we're seeing the possibility of some 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds in some of these storms there. Yeah, straight line winds that certainly could do some damage there. So we are not completely out of the woods, although the big heavy rains and the hail threat seems to be tapering down a lot for the area between the I-35 and I-45 corridors. We still have a couple of those storms that are certainly still kicking up gusty winds, and suggestions in the Doppler estimates, the Doppler scans of these storms suggesting maybe hail to the size of a quarter in some of this, and some very heavy rain. But man, it looks like the wind has been the biggest thing. The wind and the very heavy rains have been the biggest problem we've had with this stuff. Several reports or several suggestions of possible tornadoes that we have not had confirmation on, so it might be a little bit early to say we didn't have any, but we haven't gotten confirmation on them yet. So it certainly looks like this has been a wind and rain event so far. To come back out and put this into motion for you, let you see. Okay. All right, we will continue our coverage here on Facebook as we watch these watch boxes begin to drop away across Central Texas, and go back to joining our regular Sunday morning network programming here. And a happy Easter to you folks, and join us over on Facebook. All right, everyone, we will continue to keep an eye on this stuff here on Facebook. Again, we are 7:25 now. The initial severe thunderstorm, or rather the tornado watch box, is set to expire at 8 o'clock. and we have a second watch box that will run until noon today. That generally the area east of I-35 and for the most part east of I-45, and stretches on down to the Brazos Valley here. And well, we're going to continue to keep you updated on what's going on with this stuff. Right now, we're just kind of mopping up, and in many cases, we have no watches or warnings. Really, well, we have the watches up, but we don't really have any warnings going on anywhere in our area, with the exception of right along I-45 over just to the north of Centerville to Fairfield was the extreme western end of a severe thunderstorm watch box there, and that went up for some rather gusty winds that have just about cleared the area. Still looking at pockets of moderate to heavy rain moving through Robertson County and over into Leon County. We're still tracking some moderate to heavy rain moving through Milam County from about Milano on up through Cameron and on over towards the Brazos River as well. Activity pushing eastward with all this stuff. It looks like the severe threat is shifting away from central Texas and now moving more towards the area north of us, the Interstate 20 corridor, for the remainder of the morning. But even as I've said that, we're still under a couple of tornado watch boxes for the time being. Let's see. Looking to see what new damage reports we might have across the area. In Henderson County, and this is again is out of our viewing area, possible tornado. Certainly strong winds, possibly as high as 70 miles an hour, and maybe 3/4 inch hail and that stuff. This storms still have quite a bit of a kick to them across the entire area, particularly back towards the east of us. All right, let's go in here and let's go county by county and community by community and check what's happening across the region. All right, we're going to track these storms here from north to south across the region and bring you up to date on where we are. Across Navarro County, we have moderate rain still falling, but everything is pretty much along and east of I-45, moving on out of the region. We're still tracking some light shower activity between Corsicana and Hubbard there in Hill County. As you go further south down into Limestone County, we're mopping up. It's been a real mess from Coolidge to Waukene to Mahia down to Rosebeck and Thornton. We've had wind damage being reported. We've had inundating rains. We've got flooding and underpasses. We've got water across the roads. We've got roofs blown off of buildings and power lines being blown down. So please be extremely careful across Limestone County. As you get back over into Falls County, much the same story there. You get into the rural areas and we've had roof damage, we've had tree damage as well, and very, very heavy rains. Same thing is true. You get into adjacent areas of Bell County. In fact, across all of Bell County and into Coryell County and Lampasas County, the water's beginning to drain off now because we've had a break for a time being, but it's still a sloppy mess. But it's an improving weather picture for us. Still moderate to heavy rain in progress right now here in Milam County. I'll go in here a little closer on this on Highway 77 and back over towards Hearn and even up towards Highway 6 at Bremont. And that area is still very heavy rains falling, but not as heavy as it was, so that's good news. We're seeing an improved weather conditions across the area, in most cases across just about all the entire viewing area. The worst seems to be over with. Things are tapering off now. We will be seeing the expiration of the original severe thunderstorm watch, the one that was issued along and west of I-35. Much of that's already been cleared. We'll see that dropping away at 8 o'clock this morning. The area to the east of I-35 is seeing a much improved weather picture. Although there still remains a tornado watch in effect for the area along and east of I-35 back through the Brazos Valley and over into deep East Texas and northern Louisiana. It looks like the worst is over with for the time being, at least between I-35 and I-45, our viewing area. So I think we're going to take a break here in our coverage for the time being and, of course, jump right back on again if conditions warrant. Have a great Easter if I don't talk to you, and enjoy the sunshine that's on the way the latter part of the day today. Thank you for your time.